I'm Tolu Adeleru. You're watching NN24. We're counting down to the April 2011 elections here in Nigeria. Representative democracy seems the perfect place for social media, a direct communication channel between the governed and the government. But are we headed towards a more interconnected body politic or something else? Today we're going to talk about social media and Nigerian politics and how this part of media might be changing how we elect our officials. Joining me in the studio is Mercy Abang, that is, and also Gbenga Sesan from Enough is Enough. It's a pleasure having you guys in the studio with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tolu.
Now, social media is something that, of course, we all understand what it is. Facebook, Twitter, the plenty on the BBs all the time, connecting people at the drop of the hat. But really, has social media made its impact felt in the current political climate that Nigeria finds itself?
Ladies first.
Yeah, it has, because you cannot take away the role of social media. It's been very positive from the West to Nigeria. Because basically the success story of young Nigerians registering during the voter registration exercise so far can be attributed to the role played by Enough is Enough Nigeria Coalition and other organizations via using the social networking site, encouraging Nigerians to be part of the process, encouraging young people to be part of the process to create change, and that will start from the point where you register to get a voter's card. And I think it's here to stay. We are all embracing the social media.
Gbenga.
Well, if you look at the numbers, we've got 44 million people who are on the internet in Nigeria, 3 million of them on Facebook. We don't know exactly how many on Twitter, but let's even say half of that or a third of that, say about a million on Twitter. And you can tell that the kind of impact that youth involvement, because what we used to have before now was youth apathy, basically. Every young person, most young people were like, you know what, what's my business? As long as I can get myself a good job, build my own PHCN by getting I pass my neighbor or something like that. But now there's a lot of social interaction. I mean, every day you're fed with information. Even, I mean, given the example of when the president, when the ex-president was ill, people were following on Twitter. The night it was brought back into Nigeria, into the morning, 2, 3 a.m., people were following that. So that's what social media does. It first of all gives you the information, and you can't say you didn't know. So it brings the information to your face, and then basically it means that there's a lot of positive peer pressure. I mean, look, what she was talking about during the registration period, a lot of people went to register because their friends were registering, because their, so to speak, their role models were registering, because their celebs were registering and all that. And that is one of the key things social media brings. It brings peer pressure, but at times it can be positive, and in this case it's been positive, you know, so far. People are now asking questions. Even the candidates, some of them are on Twitter, you know, and people have been asking questions, and we've got a Facebook president who a few days ago just overtook Omotola in terms of number of followers. And you know, so it's really an active space within Nigeria right now. And yes, we say that not a lot of people have access to the internet, but let's not forget the fact that about 80 million people have access to mobile phones, and a lot of the mobile phones can get access to the internet thanks to different data plans. So we've come to a place where social media is playing a major role. We used to wait for newspapers to come in the morning before we would read the headlines. But
as it happens now,
but right now, as it happens, I hardly read headlines and get surprised anymore in the news, because at 2 a.m. I already know what the newspapers are going to write the next day. You know, except there's something, maybe earthquake or something at 3 a.m.
You mentioned about the president being on Twitter, on Facebook, that is. Social media has become a place where people go to discuss issues that matter to them. And now we have Nigerian politicians on Facebook. President Goodluck Jonathan has over 500,000 fans on Facebook. Nuhu Ribadu has about 141,000 fans. And the other two contenders also have, that is Ibrahim Shakaru, he has over 600 friends on Facebook. They are there, they're embracing it, they're working with it. What do you think it's really going to bring them, other than having information about their campaigns at the drop of the hat for those people who are following them? What other benefits can politicians have?
I think one good reason many people are jumping on social media, for politicians particularly right now, is the fact that they've seen, in quotes, the success that the president has had with it. Because there had never been an opportunity, apart from the broadcast that the former president, OBJ used to have this media chat and all that. But this is kind of a one-way conversation. I know it's interactive, but it's kind of one way. The president comes at 9 a.m. or somebody who is, who handles that for him, posts a message. And because Nigerians never had it that way, you never had a seeming opportunity to reply the president. So when the president posts a message at 9 o'clock and you reply at 10, and some few days later, and this was a very smart thing that the president's handlers did, they looked for names of people who posted comments. In the next comment, it will refer to them by name and say that, I mean, for example, he said someone on Facebook made him, realize that Nigeria had a property in, in the Silicon Valley area, in California, and that they followed up on that and all that. So it gives you the opportunity to, first of all, call people by name and create an impression, even if it's not true, create an impression that you're listening. So the fact is, a lot of the politicians, some of them actually are listening using this platform, because then you can put out information. Every one of them basically announced on Facebook when they were going to run for the presidency. And you can't ignore a pot that has 3 million eager and ready people who are willing to engage.
An audience that's basically tied down.
How many people get an audience of 3 million waiting for them to say something? Not so many. Not so many.
Mercy, I have to ask, many people will say Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, all these social media, they are actually venues for young people. They're actually venues for maybe people who have not so many other things to do. We're having a problem, is there a disparity between how the younger generation is embracing social media and how the older generation is embracing social media?
To start with, I want to also add to what Gbenga earlier said about the social media and how it connects with some of the candidates. Don't forget that the interactivity and information social media provides is such that cannot be gotten from the traditional media. So that's basically a plus in addition to that. And I also want to inform you that the social media is here to stay. And the generation you are looking at, we are looking at, for those of us from the EIE, we are targeting a demographics, 18 to 35. All these people are now embracing social media. 35 to 70 today, they are all embracing social media. Who is 70? Let's start doing the name calling. Then you go to Facebook, you see them there. Most of the governors today in Nigeria, they are all running to social media because they know that it's a platform that should be identified with. Looking back to the US and the role it played for Barack Obama, a lot of people, even the editor-in-chief of Huffington Post had said that if not for the media, Obama wouldn't have been a nominee. If not for social media, if not for the new media, he wouldn't be the president of the United States. Going to Iraq and its role it played during Iran and its role it played during Ahmadinejad and the crisis where he said he banned the traditional media from airing the event as it was happening. But people were tweeting about it. But I'm even going far. Look at Tunisia, look at Egypt and every other place. Places where the traditional media do not have access to. The internet platform is giving people a voice. The platform is telling people, okay, I can actually say this to my president. If you go to Jay Goodluck tweets, you see so many people tweeting at him, telling him that I think what you're doing here on this area, particular sector, is wrong. Most of the candidates, people are tweeting at them. Don't forget to talk about the issues. Stop telling us, stop name calling, and we want you to talk about education, we want you to talk about employment, we want you to talk about corruption. These are the things we want you to talk about power. These are the things that are key in the minds of Nigerians, and it's been positive using the social media.
And I think, in terms of age, I mean, let's, statistically, October to December last year, there were more older people signing up on Facebook than younger people, according to statistics. And I'm not surprised, because that was the period when the election buzz and everything started. And I think a lot of, the older generation just suddenly realized, hey, wait a second, I heard there's another country where they're discussing Nigeria. And the country was called Facebook, and people were signing on and all that. I met a mom a few days ago who was talking about trying to, become a friend of our son on Facebook, and the son was like, no, I don't want you to become my friend. Because she said, because she reads the newspapers and comes home to discuss headlines with them, and they're like, oh, mommy, we heard that, day before yesterday. And that whatever they're doing, that she heard one is called Twitter, and I said, yes, said whatever they're doing, whatever they're using, she would like to begin to use it. And I said, what? Because that's where the whole stuff is now. So there's definitely going to be a shift. I mean, for some of us who are much young, and I mean, I don't think I'm that young, but I still, I mean, when you talk about 70, I'm still very, very young.
Yeah.
But for us, it's natural.
Yeah.
We're doing it because it's cool. We're doing it because, hey, we've got a BlackBerry.
You know, to a lot of people, they wake up and the first thing they reach for is either their laptop or their phone. Sure. So anything they've missed overnight, at the top of the fingers, it's there.
We don't. For those, some of us, we don't even think there's anything breaking on the dailies when you have your internet.
Yeah.
Because you already have the news. Sometimes you get the news at 10 a.m. The news that's supposed to be breaking the next day. So that's the role. I
actually have something against breaking news these days. I mean, I know, you know, every you know, the media is like breaking. But for the most part, honestly, there's nothing really breaking anymore because it's like someone tweeted about it and then.
So it's really not breaking anymore.
Yeah. Okay. We're taking a look at social media in the Nigerian political scene. We're going to take a quick break right now, but we're going to be back. Mercy and Gbenga are in the studio with me, and they'll be back when we return.